weekend with the newspapers full of wedding trivia. In the studio to talk to us about the tourism effects in the UK of the royal wedding, we're very pleased this morning to have Carol Maddison. She's the Focus Chair for Travel and Tourism at the British Business Group here in Dubai. She's also the UAE Manager for Visit Britain. Good morning, Carol. Thanks for joining us. Let's start off, I guess, with the basics. How much of an effect on tourism do you think the royal wedding will have?
Well, I mean, it's been immense. There's been so much interest. I'm doing a series and series of interviews this week. But from past experience, Charles and Di's wedding, there was 1 billion people watched, and obviously that was 30 years ago, before the social media madness. So they're expecting 3 times the amount of people to watch. We also, at the year after Charles and Di's wedding, we had additional 184,000 visitors to the UK because they'd watched the wedding on TV. And also the year after Andrew and Fergie's wedding, we had an additional 1.7 million visitors. So, even if we get the amount of interest that Charles and Di got after their wedding, 0.6 million additional visitors who spend an average £65 when they go to visit, that's going to be about £40 million for the British economy. So, it's going to be a really, really big event, and everyone's very interested in it. So
I spent I think it was the 29th of July 1981 watching Qatar television, who broadcast the whole day, as did most Gulf countries broadcast the whole of Charles and Di's wedding. But I've been speaking to people over the last few days who don't know where it's being shown this year. I don't think the local stations are actually picking it up.
Yes, they are. Dubai One's definitely showing it. They're starting from sort of 11 in the morning UAE time. And NBC, we just sent NBC to the UK to do full coverage on the wedding. They were there for 4 days. They did, they filmed the whole where the route's going to be. They also did some filming of Westminster and some filming of kind of afternoon tea and the etiquette and the very British traditions that go with pageantry. For the UK, culture and heritage and pageantry is very key. It's a very strong driver for people to go to the UK, and it actually brings in £4.5 million for the British economy. So it's a very key event, and this event's obviously kick-starting a global campaign for Visit Britain. Over the next 4 years, we've got key events. We've obviously got the Olympics in 2012. We've got the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, 60 years on the throne next year as well.
Is pomp and ceremony our main selling point?
Yes, most definitely.
I'm interested in what you said there about the number of visitors that visited the UK after Charles and Di's wedding or Andrew and Sarah Ferguson's. Is it not so much an immediate impact in tourism as sort of a slow burner, more of a long-term thing?
Yeah, it's more sort of medium to long term. We're not expecting huge amounts of visitors to actually go for the day on Friday. Although, industry experts were saying, like in February, for example, Expedia had 266% increase on bookings for this week, and also hotel industry experts were saying that their occupancy levels have gone up 121% for the fortnight, including this week as well. So there is a huge demand for people to go for the wedding, but I think it will be very much medium to long term, which will see the benefits.
How do you assess tourism into the UK? Who counts as an inward tourist? How do you define between business and tourist arrivals, particularly, say, from the EU, where people don't have to fill in immigration cards? You don't really know why people are arriving.
That's a very good question. I know from outside the EU, it's through international passenger surveys. So when you come in through any sort of port of entry, everyone's asked a series of questions, and they collate the information there. I'm not sure actually how they do it outside the EU.
Do British expatriates around the world count as potential tourists?
Yes. Yes. So, for example, from UAE to UK, in 2010, it was 211,000 visitors with a spend of £310 million. So this market's very, very key. The spend's really high. It's 3 times more than the rest of the world. but we do include expatriates in that, and that's about 50% of the figures.
Well,
but an Emirati visitor is very key, because they spend a lot of money in the UK when they do visit there. But I mean, expatriates as well. I mean, I know when I go back on holiday, you do stay with family and friends for a few days, but then you want to get away, so you book into a hotel. You're used to a nice lifestyle here, so when you go on holiday, you want to have that as well. So you'll end up going to nice restaurants and going shopping. So they do bring in a lot to the British economy as well.
With those figures in front of me, the 211,000 visitors that you mentioned, I was interested to see that is down on the number of UAE visitors that came in 2009, but the spending is actually up. Does that mean that less people are coming from the UAE, but they're spending more?
No, spending is down as well, because spending was £312 million in 2009. It's gone down to 310 million. And visitor numbers were 246,000. It's gone down to 211,000, and we're attributing that reason for the fact that the figures have gone down to, I mean, last year we had very bad weather, we had the ash cloud, the economy was still picking up. Also, we find with Emirati visitors, Ramadan's now encroaching into the big sort of 3-month summer period when they travel. So we're feeling we're finding that's making a big difference to the amount of time that they spend in the UK and to when they travel there.
Now, in this part of the world, you said that our spending in the UK is quite good, but how do we rank globally? For instance, how do visitors from the Middle East to the UK, how does their average spend when they're there compared to, say, the US or Japan, who are other big tourist markets for the UK?
Yeah, we're very key. We're about 3 times more than the world average. So it's a very lucrative market for us, especially I think expatriates that have lived here for a long time and Emirati travellers, when they go back to the UK, they do tend to spend a substantial amount of money. I mean, a lot of them have. Well, the average spend is roughly about £1,200 per visit, and the average spend around the world is £65. So that's like 3 times more than the rest of the world is spending. So it's very key for us, and it's very key for the British economy.